Hey, good afternoon. It is 3:34 p.m., October 25th. It is Saturday afternoon, and so I am back with another video. I did upload a video this morning, and I'm back with another one. So anyway, I was thinking, I was watching a couple of videos, and then I also just wanted to kind of get a feel of what's going on around me. Now, I had shown you some conversation cards one time that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. And these are not meant for divination purposes or anything, but what they are is just some people use. I don't need conversation starter cards. I mean, I can talk about anything. Okay, that is, of course, if the person that I'm around, I feel like some sort of interest in talking to. Okay, so but I got these because I know that cards of different kinds can be used for divination. So I pulled one of these cards, and the question was, what's one thing you think makes a friendship last? Now, in my life, I have had no friends in my life. I've had frenemies, and I would say that the majority of people actually have frenemies. I mean, when you really get down to it, when push comes to shove, when your back's against the wall, okay, when people will throw you under the bus, okay. This includes family members, coworkers, and it stings more, and it's more painful when family members do this. But what a true friend is somebody who has empathy for you. Okay. Just like you understand what it's like for you to deal with certain kinds of pain or injustices. Okay. If you have an individual who inflicts that kind of pain on you, then that is not your friend. Okay, and nor will they ever be your friend. And if they say that they're sorry, if it's something extreme, you should just always keep. I personally am keeping my distance. Like, for example, I understood what happened in the community, so I say, and I'm being realistic, I would be polite. Okay, there was a lot of things that were taken against me that people were participating in. Okay, like, for example, if you have a true friend, okay, your friend wants what's best for you. They want what's best for you. Okay. By people trying to bully me, trying to monitor what I buy, talk about it, trying to prevent what I buy. For example, the bicycle I just mentioned that my son, or tricycle, whatever my son was trying to order, try to order, the two times. This tells you that these people are not your friends. So I've dealt with people in my life, like, for example, my sister would have employees bully me. And then I would go to her house and eat dinner. And so she always felt like she needed to have some sort of power over me. If you have a true friend, you do not still feel like you need to have power over that person. Okay, you accept that person for what they are. You appreciate their existence, okay, and you do not find a need to bully that person. If you bully a person, you are not their friend, okay? So, no, I don't I do not consider a person a friend if they're in opposition to my way of life. They are my enemy, okay, specifically. But I am not somebody who wants to, keep fights going. But I also have, I recognize the fact that I have a right to live my life the way that I choose to. So therefore, I will be polite. That is what it is. I will be polite. I am polite to people. Okay, meaning, like, if I'm coming into a building, I will open the door for them because it's the polite thing to do. I understand I deal with a lot of rude, ignorant people. And no, I have not had people slam the door in my face. All I'm saying is that I understand the rules of social etiquette. Okay. Now what I deal with is I deal with a lot of people who uh, have this competitive nature towards me for no reason. Okay. And what they're basically trying to do, what the people I've dealt with in the past are basically the message they're trying to convey is that they want to compete with me. They're not comfortable with me being who I am. They don't like the fact that I have the right to do it. This is the reason why they took it to the president of the United States. And this is the reason why they did what they did. The intuitive messages I'm getting right now in my mind is that people are rather impressed with who I am. The reason why is because I'm able to stand up for myself. I'm able to recognize injustices, and I don't take anything from people. Okay. And the reason why is, on a spiritual level, I'm not supposed to have any regard for you whatsoever. Okay. You know why? Because on the spiritual ranking, every action that was showed to me, it demonstrates that these people are immoral. And yes, they are. Okay. So there was no reason for them to think that for 1 minute that they had some sort of approval, or that what they were doing was righteous, because they're not. Okay. So what a friendship is and what makes it last is somebody who cares about your well being. Okay. Somebody who protects you from any sort of harm. Okay. If you know what it's like for somebody to hurt you, you would not inflict that onto somebody else. Okay. So, and I understand like people will go out, like you'll have a coworker or a kid that you went to school with or whatever. And they're like, hey, let's go out and have a lunch. And people eat lunch together all the time. What you have is a lunch mate. What you have is what's the word for it? An acquaintance. Okay. You have an acquaintance. You have somebody that you know. Okay. There's a difference between someone that you know and someone who is your friend. Now, I treat everybody friendly. I treat everybody with respect. I've never done anything wrong to them. Meaning, like, for example, I live in this neighborhood. I do not know any of my neighbors' names. Okay. I don't go out of my way to cause them any harm. I do not gossip about my neighbors. I don't spy on my neighbors, but I'm pretty gosh darn sure that many of them have done that to me. Okay, so what I'm saying is that I'm a peaceful person, and I am very proud to be that's the kind of person I am. So makes a friendship? Let's just say, for example, you meet somebody who truly is your friend, who you have this bond with. There would be a mutual understanding that, hey, I hold you up and you hold me up. Meaning, I don't believe that friends should be dependent upon one another because I'm a very independent person. Okay, but I understand that if your friend saw you going through a hard time, and they would not let you go through a hard time. They would offer their support. Okay, and that's what a friend is. A friend is somebody who makes sure that they do not lie to you. Okay, a lie only leads to all kinds of confusion and can create all kinds of problems. If you have a true friend, they will not create or put you into those sort of entanglements. So yes, I value the idea of friends very much. Okay, but I understand most people that you meet are just your acquaintances. Okay, and when it comes to enemies, my enemies who created all of these problems, I don't forgive something that went that long. Like, for example, this bullying issue, it went on for a very long time. I will never forgive anybody for that at all. Like, and so this is one of the reasons why I'm saying, if these people ended up in the streets and they die and their kids die, and the reason why I don't care if their kids die is because trash breeds trash. That's why. Because I know the people who were doing this have no way of training their kids to live proper lives. So good for them. They deserve to die. Okay, the intuitive message I'm getting is something about my art is very powerful. Very powerful. And I don't know, I am not an artist, and I know that a lot of people are more comfortable referring to me as an artist. And for people who want to call me an artist, I would never consider them my friend, ever. Okay, so the intuitive and a message that I have, for my little card I have, is what's something that always makes me feel at peace? Um, Having a clean conscience. Now I know I see the church that you're forced to go to. Some of you guys got sucked into this mind control thing to where you guys attend church all the time, and you what you like is you liked the participation of bullying in a person. Talking about the targeting bloodlines, the bloodline targeting is what you guys went for. Okay, and if it didn't entail having a victim to bully and focus on, you don't really care anything about your spiritual lives. And this is what proves it. So this is why I've never believed in forcing people to go to church. I've never believed in that. You know why? Because because uh really the idea of having a spiritual life is to have a relationship with the divine. That's what it is, to have a relationship with the divine. And it can't be faked, it can't be modified. And see, a lot of these people go to church and they're just going to church for the social aspect of it, no other reason. Okay, and that does not mean, and I know people are saying, oh, you're a goody two shoes. I do things that I think are, I think I'm a good person. Okay, but I like who I am. Okay, and yes, I do have a clean conscience. I know that I can walk outside and I don't have to hang my head down high because I know that I didn't mistreat anybody, I didn't defraud anybody, I didn't disrespect anybody, and I know that I would not be wrapped up into what a lot of these obese women were doing. Okay, which was creating genocide. Okay, so I know that is what makes it so that gives me peace. I have a clean conscience. I know that I'm not responsible for anything. So I go to sleep well for that reason. Okay, now I have other issues because people have caused me problems, right? But overall, like I know that I'm not guilty of anything, you know? So that's what gives me peace. Okay. The other card that I pulled is, if you could meet one famous person, who would it be and why? I would like to meet some of these politicians. I would definitely like to meet some of these politicians, so I can sit here and tell them, that I'm interested in, becoming maybe like a social reformer or something along those lines. I don't know if the president is really, that particular title is really something that I would want to hold or could hold. I think I should be able to run for president if I wanted to, but what I'm saying is that I do believe that my ideas of me doing the rural reset and everything, that could possibly be something I could do. I don't know. You know what I mean? I understand the employment sector is pretty manipulated, so whatever. But I would like very much to, be able to talk to people about getting my point across. The other card that I got is, what is the strangest food that I have ever tried? I do know that people talk about my food, which is really none of their business. I understand. I deal with a lot of negative people that I come in, and I understand. I do suspect that they have messed with the state of California. The state of California was inspired by this obese group of people who were trying to manipulate what people eat. This is a fact, okay? Because the obese people are jealous of people who want to make sure that their health is at the optimal level. Okay, I personally do not believe in eating garbage, okay? Like, the kind of stuff that causes diabetes, the kind of things that actually cause your tissues, your skin tissue to deplete underneath your skin, okay? So no, I don't. Okay, so I understand that these obese people, I do believe that these obese, I'm sure President Trump probably realizes that these obese people were involved in the food stamp thing. Okay, and they are the ones who force people on food stamps. Okay, so I understand that this group of people are very, very demonic. Very demonic. Okay, because I will tell you, when it comes to food or nutrition, you're supposed to eat food that comes from the earth. Anything else is artificial. Everything else is artificial. So everything else that you put in your mouth, it doesn't make sense to put it in your mouth. Okay, so these are demonic people. They don't like people who eat things like oranges and stuff like that. You can tell that there's a huge demonic influence in this earth. Okay, and like I said, you'll find most of these demonic people in your churches. This is a fact. The little card that I have, if I could have any, okay, now this is what the community is thinking. Okay, they wish that they had my superpower. Okay, and I could understand that. I could understand that because I have a guardian, my father's apparition, and all this other stuff. But I'm a peaceful person. Okay, I am a peaceful person. The best I'm getting right now is when this card appears. This is this one right here. That everyone is regarding these particular women to be ashamed, and they should be despised. Well, they should be. They should be despised, okay? Because they created a huge problem for a lot of people, okay? Do you understand, if you don't eat things like apples and fresh vegetables and stuff like that, your immune system is going to fall apart, okay? So these people were trying to basically force other people, like I told you, fat people cannot stand other people not being fat. They will impose their fatness on other people by any means necessary. This is one of the reasons why I'm telling you, fat people are wicked. Okay? They are consumed with demons. They are like, if anybody, there are certain people who are consumed with negative energy, but when you look at fat people, it's obvious. Okay, it's obvious. Now, that's not to say that there's not people who are trying to lose weight, or people who are accepted and comfortable with who they are, and then they don't inflict this pain on anyone else. But I will tell you, it is easy to get a fat person to inflict pain on other people. This is the truth. Okay, so yeah, people look at me and they find me interesting. They're impressed with who I am because they've never heard me talk before. Okay, what happened in this community and spread throughout this network needs to be worked upon. Okay, I'm hoping that things will be taken care of in this issue, because other people are suffering because of fat people. Okay, and like I said, I personally feel as though these people who got involved, I do not feel sorry for them. Okay, because they were willing to inflict their they're evil on other people. So when people talk about, like, oh, they didn't like me because I smoked marijuana. Okay, well, I get the intuitive message earlier that a lot of business owners, a lot of managers in this, CEOs, here in California are smoking marijuana. So that was a bullshit lie. Okay. That was a total bullshit lie. But somebody who smokes marijuana, like such as myself, okay, I purchase my marijuana, I come to home and I partake of my marijuana in the privacy of my home. I do not inflict my lifestyle onto anybody. Okay. But these wicked, demonic, fat people, they cannot stand the fact that somebody, what do you call it? They can't stand the fact that somebody cares about themselves. So they want to make sure everybody, the entire world, is filled with disease, because that's exactly what that is. Okay, so what is the other alternative to having food stamps? Okay, they're trying to force people to go to places like food banks. Okay, food banks I remember when I came to Bakersfield one time, and the food, let me tell you what food banks have. They have very low quality things. They got cookies, they got crackers, they got cakes. Okay, this is the only kind of foods that they have, basically. Okay, and they have canned goods which have no nutritional value whatsoever. Okay, so food banks have very low quality food, which is going to give you diseases, okay, eventually over time. So this is the kind of stuff that fat people have imposed on everybody else. They do not want people to make positive choices. Okay, fat people are evil, plain and simple. They have nothing to contribute to society, and I would be very grateful for them all to die. Okay, what other message do I have? Yes, people are starting to understand that, yes, there is a Masonic tie into the Bible, okay? And I've mentioned this before. There is, okay? So what I'm trying to say to churches is that, most religions don't understand that their adherents, the people who attend their churches, they don't care anything about their religion. You're not making anybody good. You're not helping making people better. Okay, if anything, you are the demonic source that is creating these people. And like I said, I have not been to church, in a long, long, long time. I've never belonged to one, permanently as a member. Okay, and I've mentioned, perhaps, I know that churches have been making a lot of changes. Okay, hopefully that they've been trying to change the narrative and produce better quality people. Okay, what else? Let me pull some more of these cards because I'm bored today and I don't have anything else to do. Okay, so what other question could I answer? Okay, what's your go-to joke or funny story? Oh, that's kind of lame. I wouldn't try that one. If you could only eat one food for the rest of my life, what would it be? Hmm. I don't have an answer for that. If you could be a character in a sitcom. See, some of these cards are kind of silly, right? But it gives me an idea, just when pulling them, it gives me an idea of what people are talking about and what they're thinking. Okay, and what the kind of questions that they would ask. And I don't really watch TV, and I know people think that I'm weird. Okay, but you have to understand, I am a clone, but not. It's not just the cloning that made me what I am. Okay, it is the environment. So I am a combination of, okay, obviously I'm an intelligent person, but people want to sit here and call me weird. They want to call me, I am reacting to what these people have done. So I usually, when I go into a building or somewhere, my sister, Lisa Gordon or whatever, has already polluted the environment. So I'm aware of the negative people. I'm aware of the stupid gossip. I'm aware of all of that. So I don't feel comfortable around you. So this is why I'm going to come off as weird. I'm going to come off as distant. I'm not going to make conversation with you. It should make sense, right? So no, I'm not everything what people have said about me. The other message I'm getting right now is that when this card appears, an awareness comes over the town of Bakersfield that fat women are to be blamed for producing shitty offspring, laziness, and being jealous. This is exactly what they are. And I remember seeing, like, a lot of what they call like memes or whatever. And I know that a lot of overweight women like to make fun of or talk about women, even if they're not doing anything. They're just sitting there having a lunch, minding their own business, doing whatever their thing. And the next thing you know, oh, she's got the Jezebel spirit. I will tell you, fat women are the biggest Jezebels you've ever known. Okay, that's all they do is plot, all they do is scheme, all they can be is envious, and all they're ever going to do is try to downgrade everybody else around them. Okay, they are social cancers. That's why I say the epitome of human scrap heap. Okay, let me see if there's anything good in these cards. Okay, how did we meet and what's the first memory of me? I first came here to Bakersfield in 2000. Okay, and I came here after I left working at CSC in Edwards Air Force Base. I was working at Edwards Air Force Base, and then I came here. Why? Because the cost of living. Okay, the cost of living was just getting absolutely crazy, and as well as I felt as though the requirements to work at Edwards Air Force Base was becoming absolutely ridiculous. So I decided to come here. Okay, and so I realize now that my sister has been trafficking. Well, Lisa Hughes, I'm sorry, was following me and creating all of these problems. Okay, so I came here to this cat town about 25 years ago, off and on. I've been here off and on, And what blew up is this whole issue about. Apparently, people in Bakersfield knew me when I was CB Berganza. Okay, I was looked upon as a mystical person, and I don't believe that the church has really ever gave people any idea of who King Solomon was or how this whole blood line worked. But I am what they call the chosen one. I am considered to be like the Messiah when it comes to the Masonic groups. Okay, and since we all know that the Masons created a lot of the religions, yes, I am what they would call like, the modern day Jesus in this form. Yes, and I know it's very mind blowing, isn't it? I was tripping on myself. Okay, so if you could take one dream vacation with friends, where would I go? Probably to someplace over on the East Coast. I like the East Coast. Okay. All right. So what else is going on? Um, I get the intuitive message that there's employers who are interested in me. I do want to restart my job search. Okay, but I want to restart it, making sure I'm not dealing with anything. And this is one of the reasons why I feel like I always have to constantly say things over and over and over again. I think there was a lot of people who were willing to go on with this sick, weird, this whole scheme thing, and I don't think people realize how screwed up they made things. Okay, because of your ignorance of going and being a part of this. Okay, um, apparently people are talking about me on social media, and like I said, I'm never in the loop in social media, like ever. I am what they consider is I am an independent thinker, and I do believe in being independent. And I think a lot of people thought, well, if I try to bully her, this is going to change her way of thinking. Okay, I am what they call, and it's in my YouTube bio. I consider myself to be a philosopher. That means that I'm somebody who has studied different ways of living. I have lived my own life, okay, throughout my own experiences, and I also combine my own personal moral system into my way of life. I feel as though I live a wonderful way of life, and it's my right to do that. Okay, the intuitive message that I'm getting is that I have the divine right to kill anyone, even if they look at me funny. Okay, yeah, I do. I have the divine. Apparently, when I was CB Briganza, I killed a bunch of people, and only because of defending myself, and because people did not understand supernatural powers. Okay. And even though they understood my bloodline, like I said, throughout history, people have been very jealous of my bloodline. Very jealous of my bloodline. Okay. So, yes, people do understand in the community that I was over the age of 18. Okay, and I'm not trying to offend Bakersfield community, okay? I'm being honest and giving you guys a serious, direct conversation or something that I feel like you guys need to understand, okay? I was standing up for myself the entire time. While the community did either wanted to take sides or think that they had the right to do what they were doing. Okay, I did not appreciate that seeing this in a person in people. Okay, so for this reason, and it makes sense. Okay, I'm always going to be reserved. I'm always going to want to be a little bit distanced. Okay, because this is what happened. This is what I consider to be a tragedy. Okay, so when you're dealing with gang stalking or human trafficking or somebody who's trying to initiate some sort of menticide program, meaning like trying to basically say, you either do this or we are going to kill you. Okay, these people can never be trusted again. And because most people do not have the moral system or even have the capacity to understand what's right or wrong, for my own mental well being, I choose to stay polite. good morning, how are you, whatever. But as far as me like having people hang out in my house, that's just never going to happen. Okay, I do understand that the people in my neighborhood, they do have respect for me. Okay, and I would choose to just keep it that way. Okay, I do not expect people to cause me any more problems. I am taking absolutely no crap from anybody at all. Okay, like a couple yesterday, I had like a quick job interview. Well, not even really a job, it was more like following up with the person at CFS. I feel as though they were completely incapable of handling anything so basic. Okay, I'm not impressed with that. So it's like, I'm tired of dealing with these incompetent people that they to me just drop the ball. Okay, I am over the age of 18 and no one has the right over another human being. Period. Okay, and what you guys did was wrong. And see, this is what I'm saying is it's like I deal with the people who, and none of these people that who claim to be educated, some of these people who claim to be lawyers, none of these people. Okay, I'm a genius, is what I am. I'm a genius with a very, very high IQ. Okay, and I understand that I'm dealing with stuff that I really should not be dealing with. Okay, and like I said, I do not put up with any disrespect at all. Okay, and it's not because I'm trying to throw my weight around or threaten people. It's just that I understand that I am a woman who's all by herself. Okay, and I have dealt with a hate crime in a community. Okay, and I don't excuse it. Okay. So apparently there's projections of people saying that, I'm walking. What people think is that I'm walking into a future where I'm going to meet people who are more like me. Okay. And I'm hoping that I will get to meet people within my soul tribe. Okay. Because I'm not convinced. Have you ever heard that Aesop story? It's called The Little Pots, the story of the pots, right? There's like a brass pot and then there's like this clay pot and they just don't match. Okay. Anyway, people did see human targets, and they've learned a lot from it. And all of this stuff that you see in human targets are exactly the sort of tactics that were acted out on me. Okay, I didn't skip anything. Okay, and not everything that I showed in human targets I experienced. I tried to get as much information about other forms of human trafficking, such as human trafficking that happens in airports. Okay, I didn't have to. Well, okay, I kind of did because I was actually from England, and I ended up here in the United States. Okay, so I was basically that was a long time ago. Okay, but I talk about people who uh, are forced to travel maybe with a person who is their perpetrator, and how that they could cry out for help. And I hope, see, the thing is, we live in a society that is very ignorant. They get trained on stuff all the time, such as sexual harassment, right? Everybody, these, and I hate to say it, but these fat women who were doing what they were doing, they should have known that was sexual harassment right there. Okay, if you are in a workplace and you're constantly drawing attention to another individual, especially talking about their bodies, okay, that is sexual harassment. Okay, and they should have never been there. But yeah, okay. So what's the next thing? Um, I do believe that I should be the employer's first choice. That's a no-brainer. Okay. I was just thinking about my our work ethic. Me and my son have a good work ethic. Now I don't know what my son does at work. Okay, but I understand he understands he knows that I am somebody who I don't miss work. I'm one of those people, and it's not because I feel like I'm trying to show off or I'm trying to be perfect. Okay, I understand how low down and evil people are. Okay, so I make sure that you have nothing to say about me whatsoever. Don't say that, oh, I call, because I don't call in for sick for frivolous reasons. Okay, if I am sick, I always say, okay, well, can I work from home so I can make sure I get it done? If I can't work from home, if I know that something's due on that day, you best believe I make sure it's done. Okay, you know why? Because I have made sure throughout my entire life that you can never say anything about me at all. At all. Okay, so I don't play with these people. I understand that most people around me have very low morals and they're not to be trusted. Okay, and if you're fat, I will never trust you. And I know that sounds horrible, right? But these people are walking, talking pieces of self hatred that I do not want any entanglement with. Okay, because I can tell you right now, most of the people who participated in this, in my quote unquote attack, which was completely unjustified, all right, were fat. Okay, so I don't know. everyone agrees. I think this is coming from President Trump. Everyone agrees with the view of cloning, that cloning should be done in an ethical manner or not done at all. Okay. What else is going on? Yes, okay. Something about me having the divine right to kill people. Yeah, I do. Okay, and like I said, I don't do this on purpose. But see, here's the thing: throughout my existences and being cloned, against my will, and being framed by the very institutions that were stealing from me, which is the churches, okay, I realize the injustices. So for all of these lifetimes, I've been living with people trying to blame me for stuff, stealing from me. Just, I lived in the world condition. Now, and all these people go to church and they act like, okay, they act like it's a moral issue. Like if they don't see you at church, something must be wrong with you. Okay. But you'll notice that most people who come from church are absolutely evil. They're absolutely evil. Okay. Okay. Something about my soul tribe and them paying attention to me. And they acknowledge the fact that I'm a hard worker. Yes, I've always been a hard worker. As a matter of fact, people, I was going to call her my sister, Lisa Hughes, knew would create problems over for me, for me in all of my jobs. I realized it was her. Okay, and I do know at Murray Family Farms, she created problems with the management staff and all of these other issues. They did not like my form of management because I was doing things correctly. And the reason why I was doing things correctly is to prevent things like what happened to me right now. Okay, this sort of stuff, the harassment went from being in the actual company to coming out into the community, into skyrocketing into all of these different organizations, and then an outright genocide plot is what they created. Okay, so whatever. Anyway, what other message do I have? um Apparently I'm getting the feeling that there's positive vibes in Bakersfield, and this really quick. So yeah, people resented the fact that I have good taste, or I have a different lifestyle than they do. Okay, I am under no obligation to live the kind of life that you want me to live. Okay, you're responsible for your life. I'm not responsible for your life in any way. Okay, so if you can't handle that, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, people do recognize me as royal and angelic, as well as my son. And what else? I think that's really it. Okay. And the people are talking about my skill levels. Yes, I do have good skills. Okay. It's unfortunate that my siblings, my ex siblings, Lisa Hughes was able to do this. But and I was saying this like for the longest time, like when I first started my channel, and I think people deliberately wanted to ignore what I was saying because fat people were that out of control. Okay. And I don't like dealing with fat people. I will be very upfront and very honest with you. I do not like fat people because they only cause and inflict their harm on other people. They are the biggest example of social cancers. Now we have this issue where they're trying to force people to go to food banks. I will not eat from a food bank. You know why? Because their food is crap. There is nothing but disease in those food bank places. They do not have anything of any quality. Okay, so now they're basically trying to prevent people from eating wholesome foods like vegetables and fruits and stuff like that. Okay, these people have caused nothing but problems. When I look at fat people, you know what? I don't look at fat people. They just don't exist in my world. Period. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that if people want to come over to my house, people want to come over to my house. Why do they want to come over to my house? Something about I have the divine right to kill people. Why does that intrigue them? Oh, because people like me. Oh, people think that it's cool that I can kill people with my head. Yes, I do. I think when I want to kill somebody, I focus on them, and it doesn't take very long for me to want to just get them out of here. Okay, I suspect that I got rid of somebody just recently, a couple of days ago, and you can just imagine why. Okay, I'm getting tired of people and their stupid ways. Like I will try to inquire something, and they're trying to follow out some sort of instruction that Lisa may have given them at one time. I'm not putting up with it. So just because I remember walking away and thinking, okay, I'm going to kill this bitch, and I did, because I haven't seen anything from her in a long time. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video, and And I'm not a bad person. It's just that what, when I think about all the lifetimes that CB Berganza or all my incarnations have suffered because of other people's problems, and that's exactly what it is that people need to understand you don't have the right to inflict your ideas, your thoughts on other people. You know what I mean? And when they get forceful, then that's going to be an issue. Okay. So hopefully this whole issue with the food stamp thing gets settled and whatever. Okay. Because basically what they're trying to do is force people to be sickly, and basically be like them. Okay. And I am not sitting here like thinking that that's a good idea. I'm sure President Trump is aware of it. I don't believe anything about the budget system or anything like that. I think it's all a fucking lie, all of it. Okay. Hopefully this will get taken care of. Otherwise, because if it gets down to the point where Americans are eating from food banks, we're going to be just like some sort of like third world country. It might as well be that way. Okay, so it really looks bad for the country as far as I'm concerned, and it should have never gotten to this point in the first place. Do I believe that this was done through it because of these internal people, these fat people putting the bugs in the president and the White House ear? Yes, I do. Okay, like I said, fat people will not let other people live good lives. And their biggest struggle to other people's individual personal growth is fat people. And I know people are going to think, oh, that's terrible to say. Somebody has to say it. It's the truth. It's the truth. Okay. They have nothing to offer to society. So, like I said, I'm glad to know that a lot of them ended up homeless. I'm glad to know that a lot of them died, and I hope to see more happening. Okay, hopefully this whole issue will get taken care of with the food stamps issue. I think people should obviously have food choices. They should be able to make better choices than having to be stuck at food banks. Food banks do not have anything of quality to offer. I'm going to wrap up this video, and I'll be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Bye bye.